Hello. How are we doing? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out. I'm in the process of trying to figure something out. It's not going well. What was I doing? 37. Darn it. So hopefully everybody's having a good day. It is a stream. If you couldn't tell by the music, I was trying to get all of the track audio from at least the DLC downloaded before I went live with this stream. It's not going well. I currently have 40 of them, and I think that means I have 8 more to go. So give me a minute. I will totally get these all downloaded. I don't even know which one I downloaded. I just downloaded Avanti Rome. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. For me, it's been a very weird time because, well, my computer's been trying to generate stuff for the past 8 hours so that I can edit videos. Okay, let's go to the top. Hi Nox, welcome. Hi Nightmare. Hi Lily. How you doing? Hello Claire. Oh my goodness. 44. Oh, we're almost at the end. I'm downloading Madrid. Rosalina's Ice World. I wish I had all the music for all of them so that I could just play them. But I don't actually have the music from the first 48 tracks. Oh my goodness. Now I go to folder. I take all of this, delete it, throw it into this place. Whatever. And then I come back into OBS, which is where we are right now, and I break it by going to BGM and resetting it to default, which will make it not play. And then add files and select all and... Okay. It's cool. It's cool. Now I gotta find a way to fix my chat. Guys, how do I fix chat? You guys are smart. Oh god, that wasn't a good way to fix chat. Yeah, that's how it feels right now. I'm just gonna move stuff and hope that fixes chat. Yo, don't sell yourself short. You're smart. At least smarter than I am right now. Okay. Oh my goodness. So we've downloaded some 48 songs from Mario Kart so that we can have this whole stream go off without a hitch. If you don't know what we're doing, I have all of the tracks. All right, Tommy, how you doing? How you doing? So I have all of the tracks here. There's 96 of them. And I rated them. And we're gonna see how I rated them. I also have statistics. So my question for you guys all right now. These tracks come from one of 10 places according to me, probably 9 games. We have the SNES game, the Game Boy Advance game, Nintendo 64 game, GameCube, DS, 3DS, Wii, Mario Kart 8, and then a lot of the Wave 5 and 6, or the Wave 1 through 6 stuff comes from Mario Kart Tour. I'll tell you right now, Tour didn't do too well, but what do you think I rated the highest? Was it the tracks from SNES, Game Boy, N64 overall? If we get to design a Mario Kart game based on you. Hi, Bass. How you doing? Oh, we have all the music. Okay, I'm gonna hit F11. It's now full screen. We can see it's full screen. So I have my top 3, I have my bottom 3. I want to say the midline here, that's not bad. Midline is like okay, it's pretty good. When you get orange, when it gets to bad, it's a little bad. I'm getting smaller now, thanks. Terrible is like, I really don't want to play on these tracks. Okay, I guess we'll do it like this. The worst 3 are the worst 3 tracks in the game by far. I don't want to play them. Terrible is tracks that I don't want to play, but it's like that, you know? Bad are tracks that are below average, but I'll still play them from time to time. Midline is like, okay, these are okay. I'll play them. I won't mind. Pretty good are tracks that I enjoy playing, or enjoy playing more than these. Great are some of my favorites, and then the top 3 is obviously my top 3. These are rated by how I want, what I like. Feel free to disagree with me, but you're wrong. Just so you know. Okay, so first on the list is Mario Kart Stadium. We all know this. We all know this track. It's the first track in the game. Literally the first one in the game. You play it. It's got the weird first turn that's slightly elevated into like the anti-gravity turn. It's a Mario Kart 8 track, which is why it doesn't have a symbol here. I don't know. What would you rate it? Would you rate it as terrible, good, great, best track in the game as the first one? I don't know how many people here play Mario Kart. Mid? Wow, Tommy's out here with a mid. Wee! Mid. So after playing all 96, I ended up rating this one right there. It's so mid, bro. It's so mid, bro. I actually like the night theme, and the ending is nice. I think it's pretty good off the start. I enjoy it. Maybe I'm the wrong one. Maybe you're the wrong one. Everybody says mid. How dare you? How dare you? No, I really do like this, like, ride up into the turn. Okay, next up we have Water Park. Water Park is, well, it's an amusement park track. As we all know, amusement park tracks are amazing in everything. And it's got an entire section, like half the track, that's underwater. And everybody loves underwater. That's why it continues coming back in Mario Kart. That's why it continues. Nox is throwing it up here in great. Nox loves the track. Okay, we got Nox's opinion back. I'm bigger again. I'm throwing this right in the middle. I guess it's good then. It's good. I'm throwing it right in the middle. We're gonna see a theme with me and water, I think. I don't get along with water. Something about it. Welcome back. Next we have Sweet Sweet Canyon, the sweet level. It's got candy and cake. Too much water, 5 out of 10. Yeah, we're doing it. Nox is throwing it up in top 3. Nox, immediate best track in the game. Dude, if you asked me, water tracks would be kind of hard. I don't like the water tracks. I don't do well with them. If you asked me where I would rate Sweet Sweet Canyon like 4 months ago, it would probably be up here in like great or pretty good. But I'll be honest, trying to actually race against people in this thing, it's very midline. I've been losing it. Been losing it on the last section with that stupid donut. The donut ruins it. I'm not even kidding. It's all the donut. I hate it. But yeah, no, the rest of the track is fine. Doity, guess what? No! I refuse to guess. Okay, what am I guessing? Purple pandas are everywhere. They're gonna eat us. Did I get it? Thwomp Ruins, the 4th track in the game, and the final one here in the first set. By the way, the first cup is the Mushroom Cup. It is Mario Stadium, Water Park, Sweet Sweet Canyon, and Thwomp Ruins. So we'll have our final ratings on this. Nox, again, loves it. Nox loves it. Listen, guys, it's a ruin track. It's a mess to play upside down. I can say that much. I don't super enjoy this track. I'm gonna be honest. It's a little below average for me. And I think we're gonna see something where I've been playing on some of these tracks since they came out in Wii U. So, especially in the base game, there's probably some tracks that are all over the place that I just don't like that other people like because I played on them too much. And you know what? That happens. That happens. Turn the music down a touch. I can't do that. That would hurt my feelings. Where's the music? Oh my goodness. No, I refuse. The music must stay loud. It must stay loud. Okay, where were we? The Flower Cup. The Flower Cup with Mario Circuit, Toad Harbor, Twisted Mansion, and Fall Guys. Sorry, Shy Guy Fall. It's totally not Fall Guys. First up, we have Mario Circuit, everybody's favorite track. It's literally a figure 8, a double-sided figure 8, which uses the anti-gravity. Nox says it's definitely a mid-track. You know what, Nox? I'm gonna agree with you. It is a very mid-track. It is very mid. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's literally figure 8 with piranhas on it. And some bridges. I don't have very strong feelings about it, so it goes in the middle. Toad Harbor! How do we feel about Toad Harbor, though? Toad Harbor is not a figure 8. It's got a bazaar in it, like a little place to... It's got a ramp. That hurts. Great. Great. We're putting it way up here. We're putting it way up here. I'll be honest. I only put it as pretty good. I did not have it at great. Sorry to say. I didn't have it there. It's a pretty good track. Hi, Panda. How you doing? We're rating our tracks, and people are telling me why I'm wrong about everything, including Toad Harbor not being a great track, but only pretty good. I'm ready to be in trouble. It's Twisted Mansion. Welcome to lunch. I hope you enjoy your lunch. Twisted Mansion. How do we like Twisted Mansion? Is Twisted Mansion is the Luigi's Mansion one with the weird turn off the beginning, the little bumpy parts. I don't know. I'm describing stuff. Nox says everything is great. Nox, if this was your tier list, everything would be green. You're gonna say bad? You're gonna say great? The ending has the hammers. That's pretty fun, right? But there's this entire section in the middle of the course, and if you remember, I have it as the midline. It's very middle. The entire middle section is like underwater. It's a little meh for me. You know, not the best, not the worst. Oh yeah, people did art that I didn't look at. I've been specifically hiding from the art channel. Somebody tell me when all of the things are in there. Okay, next we have Shy Guy Falls. Shy Guy Falls is the waterfall one where you're driving around and you do stuff. Hey, you guys had a project. I'm staying out of the project until they tell me it's done. I think there were 3 people working on art. Once 3 people have submitted art, somebody tells me. It's got the waterfall that you have to go up, and then you have to come back down onto one of the worst sections of track ever, where you're trying to jump. Like, it's got that little cave thing where if you go on the top side, half of it's grass, and then you can't properly land in it, and you're trying to get out of it, and then the road breaks off in the 4 different directions. If you can't tell, I think this track is terrible. I do not like Shy Guy Falls at all. It's just a bad track. We're waiting on Dev. Uh-oh. Dev was the one that said they weren't sure if they finished work. Okay. So, yeah. Shy Guy Falls? Not that good. But then we have Sunshine Airport, named after the single greatest Mario game ever. Mario is missing. It's a pretty standard track. You start in an airport, you turn out, drive under some planes, you make your way up, and then come back down, and then you go through a conveyor belt, and it's all done. You're back at the beginning. What's to love and what's to hate? Nox says it's a bad track. Nox says it's a bad track. I'm gonna be completely honest, Nox. I just see it as a mid track. I only see it as a mid track. I'm sorry. We don't agree. How dare you? And then we have Dolphin. Dolphin Shoals, which we're talking about down here because there's too many tracks up there. Dolphin Shoals, which has a dolphin. You start, you go swimming with the dolphins, you jump, then you take some weird floating pipes onto the back of a moray eel, come out onto like the most earthquaked piece of land ever, and then fly back to the beginning. That's this entire track, right? Nox says it's mid. Nox, we're putting this as mid, we're putting this as good. You guys don't think like me very well because I have this with Thwomp Ruins. I have Dolphin Shoals with Thwomp Ruins. It's a mess of a track. The eel is a little weird. I'll play it, but it is not a track that I super enjoy. It's down there. Here's Electrodome. Electrodome is like the really trippy one where it's like a split course for half the race and you're jumping around dodging piranhas and stuff. I mean, it's a great track, right? This is another track where ask me a year ago and it would be up here and probably great, maybe pretty good. Definitely never top 3. But I have played on this track 10,000 times by now. This thing has been here since Wii U, and I've been playing it ever since. So you know what? This one feels like a Sunshine Airport to me. It's just baked into my existence, and it's very meh. I'm sorry. I don't have as much fun on this track as I used to. It's a sad time. Okay, we have our first sector track. 3 sectors for Mount Wario. The first one, you start by jumping out of an airplane onto a mountain, which is a little weird. You go through the caves on the mountain. It's got the weirdest jump ever. The second one is really weird. It's like you're going through a factory or something down into a forest. And then you come out of the forest into Sector 3, which is going down a ski slope until the end. How do we feel about Mount Wario, the first sector track? Sector track being one where you start and end in extremely different places. You're not doing laps. Terrible. Claire has it as terrible. This is the first track that I have in great. This is the first track that I have in great. We are on very opposite ends of the spectrum. Mid. Oh no. Oh no, we are so far apart. And that's the Star Cup. So Sunshine Airport, Dolphin Shoals, Electrodome, Mount Wario. What's the Star Cup? Okay. Next up, we have the Special Cup. the last 4 Mario Kart 8 original tracks. Base game, these are the last 4 tracks that were new to Mario Kart 8. So we have Cloud Top Cruise, a 3-lap standard race where you're going around on like a clouds. I don't know. You got bouncy clouds, you got regular clouds, you're jumping around, you get rocketed into the air after jumping off of a ship into the sky, where you then race through lightning and back down to the beginning. We have pretty good, pretty good. We're saying pretty good? We're saying good? I will say that I did rate this one as pretty good. This is a pretty good track. I enjoy it. It's not as overplayed as Electrodome, which is good. Our second of our new tracks is Bone Dry Dunes, a desert track where we're weaving through, well, bones and piranha plants. See, here's the tricky part, is you have to figure out how I feel about the tracks. And I have very different feelings than many other people. Nox says bad. Nox is saying bad. I also had some rules when I was setting this up. I tried to create as close to a standard deviation as I can. We have mid, we have bad. Listen, this is a desert track. And historically I would like desert tracks, but this one in particular, this one does fall across the bad list for me. It's not, I don't think it's a good track, or I don't think it's a very good track. It's better than Shy Guy Falls by a lot. That's all I have to say about it. Next up is Bowser's Castle. You know, the Castle of Bowser, where we drive through the front door immediately into a laser light show, into a sharp turn, dodge fire, dodge axes. Then we have to go past giant Bowser punching stuff on the ground. Dodge that. Going outside, launching ourselves over an active volcano, landing, crumbling ground, jump back up to the start, do it all over again 2 more times. Nox is saying top 3. If I don't answer, it's because my little sister blackmailed me into doing a face mask. Meh, it is what it is. Bowser's Castle, top 3. I only have this one as great. I'm sorry. It is not top 3. This is a great track. I have a history with this track, actually. My YouTube channel has like some 500 videos on it that are privated. Don't worry about it. But one of the first little videos that I had put up on there, it made it into my first 100 video special way back when, was a race where I came back on Bowser's Castle. Came back from behind to win it at the end. It was funny. But that's all we have to know about Bowser's Castle. I have a history with that track, and I really do like it. You have to be an original Doity follower back from before I deleted all my videos to know that lore. And up next, we have Rainbow Road. The Mario Kart 8 edition of Rainbow Road. I don't know how to classify this one. We start in like a space station, we turn, we do some weird stuff, we have splitting paths everywhere, we're launching out of places, we're still a space station. We're saying good? We're saying good? Bad? Well, I'm willing to say I won at Mario Party. That is not a ranking, but congratulations. I'm willing to say that one of you got this right. It is either good or bad. I rated it as bad. I am not a fan of this aesthetic at all. I don't like the space station stuff. I don't like how they tried to pull it off. It doesn't feel like Rainbow Road to me for like half the track, which is not good. I rate it bad. Very bad. Okay, Nox has an unfair advantage. It's Moo Moo Meadows. Welcome to the Shell Cup, the first cup of remade tracks. So we have Moo Moo Meadows from the Wii. Top 3? Yeah, Nox throwing it in the top 3. Good. Tommy, whatever that is as a rating. Seems like all the votes are way off, because I actually have this one as like one of my bottom 10. It's really low. I hate this track. So yeah, this is the Shell Cup. I have something to say about the Shell Cup at the end. Remind me when we get there. Remind me when we're done with the Shell Cup to tell you a little factoid about the Shell Cup. Next, we have Mario Circuit, a remake of the GBA Mario Circuit. This is a fairly standard track, although they did lift this set of turns here at the beginning to make it use the new anti-gravity mechanic. Not a whole lot to it. How are we feeling? We're feeling mid? We're feeling mid about this one, huh? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I actually have this one listed as pretty good. I have this one listed as a 4 out of 6. Listen, I gave all of these points. So I have it listed as pretty good. It's a good track. It just has, the beginning is good and then it slips into a normal racetrack and it sort of just becomes a regular track again. I'm sorry. You're all wrong. Cheap Cheap Beach. We start with the dock, jumping into like that little sand dune thing with the water around it, and you can drive through the sand dune or the water. The water is actually a little bit faster. Into the back section with like the dirt road up to the ending. Then you cross the end and you do it all over again. That's Cheap Cheap Beach for the Nintendo DS. How do you feel about this one? I have a feeling about this one. I do have my own feelings about this one. It is in fact a track on the Mario Kart. Is it a top 3 track? Is it a bottom 3 track? Is it great? Terrible? Good? Bad? Mid? I'm here to tell you that this track is in fact bad. I don't like the last half of this track. I'm sorry. The entire dirt section is just, it's annoying. Also the water section. As we've all said, the water section's pretty meh. And the last track in the Shell Cup, Toad's Turnpike. I mean, guys, we saw that Mario Circuit was a figure 8, and it got midline. Toad's Turnpike is a big figure 8. It's got to go in the top 3, right? Claire says so. Bottom 3? It's a big figure 8 with traffic on it. You can ride on walls. You can disappear and fly. You're much more unique than the other guy. It is Toad's Turnpike. Bottom 3? Bottom 3? I have Toad's Turnpike listed as right next to Cheap Cheap Beach. It is not a good track. I don't know how you make it better, but the traffic is in the way. The roads, there's not a whole lot happening on the roads, and coin collection is a mess. Oh yeah, fun fact about the Shell Cup. The Shell Cup is across the board the lowest average rating for a single cup that I gave across all of this. Everything else, with Moo Moo Meadows in terrible, 2 tracks in bad, and 1 in pretty good, this was the worst cup across the entire field. Every other cup did better. So we know that I hate the Shell Cup the most. Statistically. Statistically, I hate it the most. Does that make it true? No. Not even close. Not even close. It's a cat. Hi, cat. Okay, on to the banana cup. Everybody loves bananas. Here's your green. Here's your sand sphinx. Dry desert. It's the one with the big whirlpool of sand that you have to drive around into that little oasis thing in the back. And then there's desert before and after that. I'm sure we all know how the desert works, right? You drive through the sand. Gonna say mid. I'm gonna say mid. I'm going to say somewhere here. Yeah, this is a very mid track for me. It's very mid. It's not the best, not the worst. It's okay. Next up, Donut Plains 3 for the SNES. I can't put that anywhere without it breaking something. Is it a top 3, bottom 3, midline, bad, good, great, terrible? This is a remake of an SNES track where they added the ability to go in the water and you have to swim around and you have to dodge a bunch of stuff. Listen, it's a track. It's a little complicated. It's bad. Claire's saying it's bad. Guys, is it really that bad? I don't think it is. I have it listed in the middle along with Dry Desert. I don't hate the track, guys. It's a fine track. Maybe I just have too much of a positive disposition towards tracks. Then again, we did talk about Moo Moo Meadows. It's hard to type on VR. Why would you type on VR? The Nintendo 64 remake, Royal Raceway. This is a remake of the level in Nintendo 64 where you could visit Princess Peach's castle. It is a track. We have great. We have a great. Do we put it as great? I'm gonna put it at great. I'm gonna put it up there at great. Listen, I really do like the track. I think the entire final third of the track with like the individual turns is pretty neat. It does have a Daisy hot air balloon, which immediately bumps it up like 7 points, right? It takes it from terrible to great instantly. It's not the only track with the Daisy hot air balloon. If I remember what the other one is, I will bring it up. Last track in the Banana Cup, we have DK Jungle. DK Jungle. This is the one that I play on all the time with the little tree and then the ruins. Then you gotta jump into the ruins. You gotta make the big sweep around, jump over the water, and then you got the 2 paths at the end. And I always screw up this track. I always fail. I was gonna say I always fail, but I don't always fail. I always screw it up. We have great good. I have this one listed very middle of the road. It is an okay track, but it's not top. It is painful. It's also got a shortcut that you can just use without doing anything if you learn how to hop. Don't let anybody tell you, but I don't know how to hop. Next up, we have Wario Stadium, the only stadium with a giant Wario in it. Not to be confused with Waluigi Stadium, which is somewhere down here. Right there it is, Waluigi Stadium. This is not Waluigi Stadium. This is Wario Stadium. It's got a big Wario, not a big Waluigi. Wario Stadium it's a very compact track with some boosters, an anti-grav section, fire bars, jumping, water. It's got everything. And it's dirt and a DS remake. Good. I have it as I have it as good. Mid? No, I have it as good. It's a good track. I like it. Okay, next we have what is spelt Sherbetland, but I'm guessing they meant Sherbertland, because that's how people pronounce it, despite the fact there's not an R there. Please, this is a snow level. It's got multiple underwater paths that are completely optional. It's got a snow cave, and then you come around to the outside and you drift through some snow. It's great, right? We're saying good? Bad? Man, we are between these two. Why don't I just put it between those two, you know? You got a good, you got a bad. I'm just going to put it right dead in the middle. Yeah. Right there. Okay, next up, we got Music Park. What do you guys think about Music Park? Music Park. Do-do-ba-do-ba-do. Music Park. Do-do-ba-do-ba-do. Music Park. Do-do-ba-do-ba-do. Music Park. Do-do-ba-do-ba-do. Music Park. Top 3. Yes, Music Park is definitely a top 3. This 3DS remake, where you start by going down the piano keys off of a drum. You got to deal with the giant blobby faces of music. Mid? Good? I don't know how to tell you guys this. I have that as a bad... I don't enjoy playing it. I really don't enjoy playing it. It's bad. Not a great track. Then we have Yoshi Valley. Yoshi Valley is a Nintendo 64 remake where in the Nintendo 64 where they would not tell you what place you were in until you finished the race. Yeah, I know, it was not a great track. I don't like Music Park, man. You drive through. I hate the piano keys in Music Park. They get in the way. All of the stupid turns onto the drums are terrible and they feel bad. Everything about it feels bad. Deal with it. Yoshi Valley has 4 or 5 different paths that you can take. And you know what? Only one of them matters. Only one of the paths matters. You can go a second path to get some coins on the first lap if you want to be in 6th place when you come out. You can. I don't like doing it. This track is terrible. Yoshi Valley is terrible. And that was the Leaf Cup. That was the Leaf Cup. We have one more cup in the base game. One more cup. 4 more tracks. Tick-tock clock. An entire track within a pocket watch. You're turning through gears. You're jumping through penduli. Those are about the 2 only things that you're doing. I'll be honest. You're jumping through gears and turning through penduli. Smashing into them on our way into the Lightning Cup. It sounds amazing. Let's say great. I have Tick-Tock Clock listed as the same as Music Park, honestly. It's not that great of a track, and there's a lot that you can do on that one, but it never feels that good to drive for me. You know, it just doesn't feel that good. Goodbye, DS game. 3DS Piranha Plant with its weird 3-colored pipes down to the start. Here, I'll even type this one. Slide. There you guys. I can spell. Piranha Plant Slide, which has its 3 pipes down into like the Mario 3S pipes where you're dodging stuff. You got to make some really sharp turns or else you're going to fall. And then you go onto the back end where you're completely underwater driving through it on your way to the top. where you have a bunch of cardboard Goombas to drive through. Feels weird to say. We have a mid. We have a good. We have a mid. We have a good. I've actually listed this one as a pretty good track. It feels good. It just feels good. Unless you drive through the waterfall after you launch up out of the pipes, then it feels like it's trying to rip you off. But in every other circumstance, it feels pretty good to drive. Now we're back to a Wii level, Grumble Volcano, which is our first track that changes lap to lap. So as you're making your way around this somewhat split path that don't actually feel that split track, you're going to notice that every lap something changes. It's falling apart as you go. The first lap is very mountainous, very built up, and the last lap is very dilapidated, falling apart, and we're just trying to get to the end. Nox says it's a great track, which is up here with the ways of Royal Raceway, Bowser Castle, Mount Wario. I have this track listed as pretty good. It's only a good track. It's like Piranha Plant Slide. It's not quite up to that Bowser Castle level. Some of the shortcuts are really annoying to try to learn. That's really all I've got to say about that. I mean, it's falling apart. It's a fun track to play, but some of the turns get a little annoying. I specifically don't like the beginning. The first couple turns. And our last track from our base Mario Kart 8 game. The final track included on the disc version of the Wii U game. It's Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road. Top 3 are great. Top 3 or great, so says Nox. We got a mid. So this track starts with a downhill into a big circular turn, almost into a circle, into another big turn, into a couple smaller turns, into the finish line. And if that sounds like a short track to you, that's because it is. But you know what? This is not a lap track. This is a sector track. And this is my favorite Rainbow Road in the original games, but in this one, it is hot garbage. Please never let me play it. It sucks. They killed it by making it a sector track, and I never want to see it ever when I play this game. It is actually disgusting what they did to this track. All because they didn't want to have a slightly longer Rainbow Road. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Rainbow Road. I forgot they turned it into... Yeah, it's a bad track because it's a sector track. If it was a lap track, it would be great. But they didn't let it be a lap track. Instead, it's a pathetically short Rainbow Road. It might even be shorter than SNES Rainbow Road. I'm not sure. It's just not good. Okay, guys. Now, I don't know if you know this, but after Mario Kart 8 came out, they did, in fact, release 2 DLC for the game, which included tracks, characters, a weird Inkling character with their own battle pass, like their own level that was only available in battle mode, but we're not talking about battle mode because does anybody play battle mode? I don't. But yeah, that's where the Inkling comes from. That's how they joined the game. Really weird, right? Really weird that this DLC exists. You know what else came in this track? Or in this, you know what else came in this DLC? We got 4 new cups. First up, we have the Egg Cup, which brings with it Yoshi's Circuit, which is literally just a lap around Yoshi, a drawing of Yoshi. We got start with a big turn, big right hand into a waterfall-esque turn. We can go through the waterfall, or we can not go through the waterfall. Then we can go through his hands that are in a tunnel. Up, around the eyes, down the back. And we're coming... By the way, the back is that really weird section with the piranha plants. It's great. It's great. So says Nox. So says Nox. Mid, great. I'm gonna back. Yes, your mess. Always clean the mess. I'm gonna put Yoshi's Circuit up in the great tier. I don't know why they took random lines and then they figured out how to make a track around it, and it became a really fun track to play. Maybe it's because they weren't going out of their way to make a track for a track, but it's probably one of the better ones that came out of doing that. And that's from the GameCube. That's a GameCube track. Sadly, the rest of the tracks in the Egg Cup, none of them are remakes. The Egg Cup then saw Excite Bike Arena. I'd explain this, but it's just go one way, turn, go the other way, turn, you're back at start. That's the entire track. There's nothing else to say about it. Terrible. We're gonna throw it in terrible along with Rainbow Road. Bad, mid. You know what, Nox? I'll agree with you. I'll throw it in terrible. It's an awful track that nobody should play. Absolutely awful track that nobody should play. But we have another original track coming right alongside of it. Dragon Driftway, where you are driving on the back of a dragon around the entirety of the course. It's got some sharp turns, some weird odd patches of penalty grass in there that really stop you from getting your turns through. It's a whole thing. And yes, I said penalty grass because Trackmania exists. I'm sorry. It's Dragon Driftway. Which, when I went to review this earlier, I did in fact discover it has a bunch of murals that remind me of Kung Fu Panda. But still. Dragon Driftway. Nobody's gonna even be able to guess my Dragon Driftway. I can describe this track so well. You're driving off the back of a thing. It's great. It is. I have it listed as pretty good. It's a pretty good track. I'm sorry to say. It's only pretty good. We've seemed to have lost the plot. Let's scroll down a little bit. We're gonna fill in the top 3 and the worst 3 at the end. Just gonna let you know that now. We're not gonna have anything in these till the end. Just to mess with you. Mute City, the F-Zero track. Came at the end of the egg. This is the lap one where you go vroom, vroom, vroom. You hit all the panels. You go super fast. You collect coins on the things. So the first section is literally you're just hitting panels to climb a thing. The second section is you're hitting those little circle things. And the last section is you get to the top, then you have to go down the hill, and it does that thing that all of the tracks in F-Zero do where it makes a squiggly S. Good. Great. Hold on. Good, great, good, great. I have this listed as bad. Not really the biggest fan. The coin collection is basically only in one part of this track, and you have to sacrifice all of your speed in order to get coins, which sort of sucks for a game where you're losing coins constantly due to being in brawls. Just doesn't feel great. That was the Egg Cup, though. That was the Egg Cup. Next up, we have the Triforce Cup, which if you know, is named after a completely different non-Mario game. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that eventually. First track is Wario's Gold Mine, where you are in fact racing on a rail cart rail the entire way around. You start outside, you work your way in, you get swarmed by bats before going anti-gravity. It's a Wii track, so you know it's good. Nox says it's great. Nox really out there with the great. He's like, this track belongs at the top. Claire says it's mid. Just skipping good altogether. I personally feel like this is a pretty mid track. It's got some really neat jumps near the end where you can like turn. It's got one at the beginning and one at the end where you turn and hit the jump before you get to the turn in order to cut it a little bit. But overall, there's not a whole lot going on the track for me. It's just very boring. SNES, Rainbow Road. Introduced in DLC, I know, it's crazy. This is a remake of the classic Rainbow Road, which means it is very blocky and it is very sharp turns everywhere with some sharp jumps. I don't know what's going on at any given point in time on this track, but it does exist. It's also got thwomps in it. We got great, we've got good. So far, this is good, but it's also the highest rated Rainbow Road on my list. So try to figure that one out. I have it listed as good, but it's the highest. Or no, I don't have this listed as good. I lied to you. I have it listed as mid because it's not that good. Wow, I lied to you all. I looked at my own numbers and screwed it up. It's a good track. It is. But why is it here? Oh yeah, it's here because there's like nothing happening on the track. Although I do like the art and how they did the rainbows on this one to make it feel like the pixels. Now I'm fighting with myself. But if I move it up, I have to move something down, otherwise the numbers don't match. We have trouble here. Yeah, we'll move it up. People like it. It's Rainbow Road. It'll go up a level. It doesn't change my math on anything, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't change my math on anything. I just checked. Okay. 2 tracks left in the Triforce Cup. We have Ice Ice Outpost, which is a very confusing track where you have 2 paths, a green and a yellow, that keep like switching with each other, and you can switch between the 2 at all times. Okay, have a good day, Lily. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. Nox is saying terrible on the Ice Ice Outpost. This is a fun little track where you get to switch. I actually really like the idea of switching between the 2 paths constantly. I really do. I think it makes for a fun race. That said, I'm gonna throw this one into the middle. Goodbye. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you again next time, whenever that is. I don't know yet. I have Ice Ice Outpost thrown in the middle, tier midline, tier 3, tier midline. No, I don't. I lied to you. I like this track. Why did I lie to you? Oh yeah, it's because I screwed up with the Rainbow Road. Yeah. No, I like this track. Anybody who's watched me play Mario Kart 8 for more than 2 months knows that I like this track. Nox, why are you guessing terrible? That doesn't even make sense. Everybody knows I like this track if you watch anything that I do. It's the switching. I like the switching. And then it's got the weird paths. Okay. Hyrule Circuit. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to not screw this one up this time. Hyrule Circuit. You drive around a castle and a town. And there's ruples to pick up. Who wouldn't be happy with that? Great. Throwing it up here with Yoshi. That's Baby Park. Where did I get Baby Park from? Throwing it up here with, with Yoshi's Circuit, Royal Raceway, Bowser's Castle, Mount Wario. Bad? Great or bad? I'm going to be honest. I have this one listed as a midline track. I don't have strong feeling towards it. It almost feels generic to me. Like they didn't even make a Zelda thing. They just made a medieval town and you just drive through it. I'm looking up a statistic really quickly for the next one that we do, because I think I know a stat about the next one too. Oh, I can't give that stat yet. We'll give the stats later, I guess. The Crossing Cup, also. Second wave of the DLC comes out. We just got Link as a character. Now we're getting the villager and Isabelle. 3 characters, because there's 2 villagers. And in that, we got Baby Park as our first track. I would describe this track, but imagine a very, very small oval. It's also the only 7-lap track in the game, and it's pure chaos. How do we feel? Good, great, bad, terrible, or mid? Nox, I'm not putting anything in the top until we're done. We'll figure out our top and bottom at the end. But Nox is throwing it up here in great. Why, though? Then Eclair's exact opposite direction. That's funny. I have this listed with Ice Ice Outpost at pretty good. It's a pretty good track. It's fun to play. I enjoy it. It's chaos of the pure chaos variety, which makes it different. And you're going to learn that different is good when you're playing a lot of tracks. It really is. Next, we have Cheeseland. Speaking of different, Cheeseland is a big race on cheese. The whole track is cheese. That's the whole thing. You're driving around on cheese. I don't know how to say this any clearer. It's got a chain jump on it. It's got a couple shortcuts that are really, really powerful. And it has the same drive style as Yoshi's Circuit. So, if you don't know, Yoshi's Circuit is fun to play. It's up here. It's also a backlining track. It's a sandbagging track where you wait at the back for items. Same thing with Cheeseland. You wait at the back, but I do have it as a mid track. It's not as fun to drive as Yoshi's Circuit. I don't know why. But it is one of the 2, strictly speaking. This is an always sandbag track where you always stay at the back for the best items you can get, and coming back is super strong. Same thing with Baby Park if you want to try it. Not always the case. I'm going to make an adjustment to this one because we put SNES up, so I'm going to drop the next track down. This is Wild Woods. This is a weird track that I usually don't mind playing on. I did have it listed as pretty good. Not even going to spoil this one. I'm going to drop it down to the mid. It's just a track. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's got the water run down. It's got the lily pads. I don't know why I had it as pretty good before anyway. Ugh. Okay, now we have the signature track from another Nintendo game. Aptly named after I don't know what. Our next track is Animal Crossing. Type with an exclamation mark because I can. How do we feel about Animal Crossing? We have it listed as great. By the way, fun facts about Animal Crossing. The track comes in 4 seasons, and the season determines the traction on the track. So in the snow, it's a little bit more slippery than in the summer. It's also got balloons. and a weird coin farm. The coin farm route in this track is awful, and I can't wait to learn it. I have this listed as a pretty good track. It's pretty good. It's not great. It's pretty good. Last track, that was the last track of the Crossing Cup. It's okay. Then on to the Bell Cup. The Bell Cup is the last cup in the Wii U DLC courses. And we start with 3DS Neo Bowser City. It's a rainy track where we're driving through Bowser's City with neon lights flashing, a bunch of random stuff in the background, and a bunch of turns that are really weird. This track sits in a weird spot in my mind. Neo Bowser is great. It's great. Good. I'm gonna be honest. I have this as a midline track because there's one turn on it that I hate. There's specifically one turn that I hate. Otherwise, it would be a good track. Also, the flight path takes you directly into the sign, so you always bonk it and you can't go over it into the shortcut properly. Just saying. They need to adjust the flight height. You know, Bowser does not have good FAA ratings. Next up, we have Ribbon Road. We're starting to lose the plot. We have to scroll down to grab our courses now. Ribbon Road is a remake of the GBA track Ribbon Road. It's got toys. It's got ribbons. I'm sure it has something else. It's good. Nox has it good. It's a good course. Bad. Wow, we are all over the place. And I'm going to be completely different than everybody. I'm going to throw this up here with Yoshi's Circuit. I really like this track. I think it's really fun. I think the shortcuts on it specifically... Yeah, the shortcuts on it are specifically make it both challenging and fun because you have to jump off the ribbon to the side in order to launch yourself forward into the future. They're very scary. Next up, we have the Super Bell Subway, which is literally a race through a subway station, metro and all, dodging trains galore. That's really about it. That's about it. It's great. It's great. It's terrible. We have two thoughts on the far end of this. I'm gonna put it right in the middle. How about that? You guys are on the far ends. I'll just drop it in the middle and it'll live there. Good. Good. And one more track, and then we are done with Mario Kart 8. As we all know, there's nothing else to see. The last track in Mario Kart 8. It is Big Blue. Bring up the end of the Bell Cup. This is another F-Zero track, but this is the sector version of the track, where you're racing from the top down to the bottom. The first sector is... I don't remember that much. It's the water slide one, I'm pretty sure. Then the middle sector is the one where you get launched into the cannon. You have to do all the weird stuff in the middle. And the final sector does the S thing again. You're running the double paths into the S. Listen, I totally remember this track. Big Blue. Terrible? Nox is rating everything as terrible. I have Big Blue not at terrible, Nox. I'm sorry to tell you this. It's not terrible. It's just bad. Along with Mute City. Both the F-Zero tracks are there. If I wanted to play F-Zero, I'd be playing F-Zero. And there you have it. After all of Mario Kart 8, we have 5 terrible, 5 great, an amount of pretty good, a slightly less amount of bad, and a lot of midline. And if they stopped releasing tracks there, this is how it would end, right? But, you know, maybe sadly, maybe not sadly, they did, in fact, release another 48 tracks down here. They're all right here. So we have to rate 48 more tracks. And this is known as, well, wave 1 through 6. This is known as wave 1 through 6. Our first cup, wave 1, the Golden Dash Cup, starts in Paris with the Paris Promenade. This is a race through that place with the Eiffel Tower. It's a 3-lap track because that's all the tour tracks basically. Almost all of them are this, and they change every lap. And Nox says it's terrible. This is my list, Nox. This is my list. Stop co-opting my lists with my own opinions. I don't know what it is. They did a terrible job, especially with the early city tracks. Like, it's not even worth playing them. They are hot garbage. Okay, Toad Circuit, 3DS remake. I guess there's no way to mention 3DS Toad Circuit without mentioning a problem that appears in most of at least the Wave 1 and 2 tracks. Nox has it listed as midline. The art for Toad Circuit and Wave 1 and Wave 2 specifically of the DLC made it look like terrible ports and cash grabs. Like, the art in the first couple was atrocious. Doesn't live up to the art of even the DLC tracks. Like, if you look at Yoshi's Circuit's art versus Toad Circuit, it looks like you're playing a different game. I'm not gonna lie. But I have heard Toad Circuit called a waste of a slot for the waves, a track that never should have been made, and one of the worst tracks in the game. I have it as a midline track. I think it's an important track to include, especially early on in your waves, because you need to bring over simple tracks as well as complex tracks. And I don't think there's a better simple track besides Mario Circuit Nintendo 64 that you could have brought over. And I think Nintendo Circuit, or Mario Circuit Nintendo 64 might be too simple to port up. I think it's an important track to bring up. Choco Mountain for the Nintendo 64. That's right, a DLC track where you get to drive around Choco Mountain. You got rocks falling, you got a whole flying section that they added. It's all there. What's there not to love? You got a lake of water that you're trying to dodge. Choco is bad. Wow. Nox is calling Choco out as bad. Why would you do that, Nox? Why is Choco Mountain bad, Nox? That's what we all want to know. It's got a Zubat on it. It must be good. No, I completely agree with you. I have Choco Mountain listed as bad. It is not a good course to play on. I feel like some of it comes down to the course and they didn't really work with it. They didn't really work on this course the same way. Like, if you look at what they did with, like, the GBA Mario Circuit and how they changed that one to fit into the game, they could have done that with Choco Mountain and had it been a good track. But they didn't. The art, just like Toad's Circuit, leaves a lot to be desired. Except in Choco Mountain, there's nothing around the track. They went boring with it. Okay, and our fourth track from this final one from the Golden Dash, we have Coconut Mall from the Wii. It is important to mention I am rating the current version of this. The current version. It released without cars moving and with a bunch of lazy work put into it. You're entering the mall, you're leaving the mall, coming out into a parking lot. We are literally racing in a parking lot. We have great, good. Yeah, I have it as good. It's bad. It's bad. I have it listed as good. But it's somewhere between mid and good, man. It's not the best track. There's a lot more work they could have done with the art. The escalators no longer have steps. It's a weird thing. I'm just gonna say this. The next one somehow survived. The next one is the Lucky Cat. And we're going to see why I'm concerned about this right away. But we have Tokyo Blur. We're driving through Tokyo, guys. It's got to be the best track ever made because it's where Nintendo is. They wouldn't make a bad track to represent themselves, would they? Would they? It's a tour track. Let's say mid. Mid. Obviously, we don't know my feelings on most city tracks in here. Tokyo Blur is honestly, I don't know which is worse, Paris or Tokyo. They are both terrible tracks. Absolutely awful. Cat hat time, cat hat time, different cat hat time. Next up, we have the DS Shroom Ridge, which I forgot was a track on the DS. I forgot that this was a thing. Paris is more boring. Yeah, but Tokyo feels more locked in. And like there's less to do. Like at least Paris has alternate routes. Dragon Tail? No, we did Dragon Tail already. It's way up there. So Shroom Ridge is a track that I forgot existed, and then it's got traffic on it. We have great. Wow, we do not think of this track in the same way. I have this listed as a bad track, man. The traffic is blah. The first section is pretty boring. I mean, the best thing about it is that it's got a shortcut that you have to jump off the track to hope to get with a mushroom. And in half the time, it's blocked by a truck being in the way. So you can't even take it. Sky Garden, the GBA remake that they completely butchered by killing all the complexity of the final part of it. That's right, in the GBA version, you used to be able to skip half of it. You used to be able to skip half of the final part. But here you can't do that no more. It's good. It's good. Mario Kart has complexity. Drive on Toad's Turnpike, then drive on literally any other track. You'll see it's got varying levels of complexity all around it. I have Sky Garden listed up here, guys. I've got a problem. I think Sky Garden is probably the best track from Wave 1 in my mind, by far. Like, there's nothing you can say that has me list any other Wave 1 track above that. I'm sorry. It's a Sky Garden. I think it helps with the setting. It didn't need a lot for the art. Clouds are very easy here. They don't have a lot of detail. And you're just making the track good. Maybe that's me. Ninja Hideaway, which is a tour track that's not listed as a tour track. They lied to you when they told you this didn't come from tour, because this originally, was made in tour then ported over, just like every other tour track. And actually all of the remakes. They all come from tour. which is why Toad Circuit has terrible art. That one is mid. Mid? Mid. We're listing Ninja Hideaway as mid now. Between Toad Circuit and Ninja Hideaway, I would race Toad Circuit anytime. I honestly think Ninja Hideaway is a terrible track. I don't know how they designed it. It's got more than one turn on it that makes 0 sense, and you can't actually make the turn if you're going anything above 50cc. I don't get how we're rating this as mid. It's like it was designed for a different game. Also, why is it called Ninja Hideaway and not Ninja Hideaway? There are at least ninjas in Mario. What is this? Okay, New York Minute. You can hear me rant about Ninja another time, but it's New York Minute. We all know New York. There's the listing. Where do we put New York on this list? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's got to be at the bottom. Bottom. Okay, we'll put it there. It is honestly a boring track that I wouldn't want to race ever. I don't get it. So we have 4 tour tracks. Wave 1. We're on the wave 2 now. We've been introduced now to 4 tour tracks. I have 4 tour tracks in terrible. Huh. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of connection here. It's... goodness. Mario Circuit 3 from the SNES. This was a track that a lot of people didn't want to... Like, they didn't like that this one was being included, because SNES Circuit 3 has been remade quite a few times, actually. And I don't think 4 has ever been remade. It's got some sharp turns to it. It's got some interesting features with shortcuts. It's good. It's good. Okay, I'll put it at good. I'll agree with you. It's a good track. I like it. It's got interesting ways of playing it. Calamari Desert, a remake of the Nintendo 64 classic with the train and all. I don't know how we feel about the train. This could be a good track. It could be a terrible track. I think I have to leave it in there while we look at it. It's good. It's mid. Listen. I feel like if this track wasn't touched, if they just let it be the 3 lap that it was originally and let you take the train route with a cost, it would be a better track. But the fact that they turned it into a 3 lap where every lap is different, it just feels bad. It just feels bad to play on. I don't know why. Okay, so we saw the popularity of Waluigi come back. Waluigi's getting a pinball game now. How do we feel about Waluigi Pinball? You're literally going through the slots up, then you're dodging pinballs on your way down while you're trying to dodge people. You get down to the pinball machine, you get launched right back up. That's the entirety of the pinball. It's great. I can't go to great. It's way too far up there. It's great. It's grayer. People must love this track. We think of tracks very differently, guys. I have Waluigi Pinball in the midline. I have it a very midline track. I don't know why. I just am not really big on this track. I don't have a lot of fun with it. I don't hate it. It's just there. It's a Toad Circuit track for me. I don't know why. Tour Sydney Sprint. Do I even need to give you guys time to guess? Sydney Sprint is a track that I remember for one turn and how you can't properly make the turn, and I've got another cat on my head. Oh my goodness. You literally can't make one of the turns going normal speed, so you have to pre-plan it. I hate this track. It's awful, and we're batting 100% at tour tracks being terrible. Can we stop? Can we stop releasing tour tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Please, don't worry. It's a trend that's not going to end yet. We have more. They're designed for a game that plays for you. I know, it's terrible. Okay, moving on. Snowland, GBA, Little Snow Lake. Driving with penguins around, we're dodging stuff, fairly wide track. It's got fun little details on the ice road. How do we feel about Snowland for the GBA? It could fit anywhere in here. It could be a Moo Moo Meadows. It could be a good track with Rainbow Road and SNES Mario Circuit 3, Grumble Volcano. Could be a bad track with Shroom Ridge and Calamari Desert. Personally, I have this one listed as great. I love the Penguin track. I love the Penguin track. I think the floating and item boxes are a little funny. Chasing them. But I like it. It's a fun track. Where was I? Right here. The Wii track, Mushroom Gorge, which has a bunch of split pads on it. Yeah, penguins, 10 out of 10. Exactly. That's why we love Snowland. Mushroom Gorge, which has a bunch of split pads that use mushrooms. It's great, amazing, fantastic. Nox loves 100%. Nox loves 100%. Mushroom Gorge, I have listed as pretty good. I don't think it's the best track. I think once you get into the mushroom section, it has some trouble. It does have some trouble. You guys talking about the BGM? Of the BGM? We were gonna catch up eventually. It's just the DLC music. Yeah, no, I have it listed as a good track. Not great. I feel like the problem with this track has to do with the last part with all the mushrooms where you're bouncing around. And it's just so hard to land on them sometimes. They have really wonky hitboxes in the Mushroom Gorge. Sky High Sunday. It's Excite Bike with ice cream cones and broken camera and anti-gravity. That should tell you my feelings about this track. Sky High Sunday is good. Bad? I'll give you a hint. This is another tour track. I have it listed as terrible. Absolutely unplayable mess. And I don't know how it made it into the game. The camera literally doesn't work on parts of the track. I don't get how it was put in. But, you know, it got in. Moving on to the, and I'm not making this name up, it is the Rock. The Rock Cup. for the third track in it, Rock Mountain. They could have called it the Maple. We have London Loop, which is a race around London. Terrible. You see a terrible? It's a tour track. It must be terrible. Where did I put this? Oh, I put it there. Cool. Mid. I actually have our track here set in bad, not terrible. And I think this wave, and this one in particular, starts a trend of tour tracks not being as awful as they were previously. I think this is where we see that. Like, it took how many? 1, 2. This is wave 3. This is wave 3. By the third wave, they're making tour tracks not as terrible. Mostly. I don't know. GBA Boo Lake. GBA Boo Lake. This is a remake of a haunted house one where they added water that you're driving under, and it goes in all different directions. It's even got anti-gravity section where you're jumping out of the water. It's good. Can I move this up? Yeah, we'll move it up to Mushroom Gorge so I can see it while seeing everything else. Oh my goodness. Everything's too big. Mid. We have mid. Good. Guys, I'm the crazy one here, right? I'm the crazy one here because I have this listed with the last 3 GBA tracks. Something about the GBA tracks that they remade here, I found them to be much more fun to play. I don't know why. I don't know why. All my GBA tracks are coming in pretty highly rated. Okay, what do we feel about 3DS Rock Mountain? Do we have it up here in the greats, down here with the terribles? I just realized that with Tour, we gained so many terribles. We have it listed as good with Baby Park. It's good. Can I be completely honest? It is a mountain. It is a mountain. I have this one listed as midline because the entire outside, after you get off the kite thing, like you get the paraglider, the entire end is a shortcut. Everything about it's a shortcut. There's no reason to be anywhere near the track, so I'm just like, you know what? No. So like where this picture is, you launch off, you drive through the forest. Completely legal. Don't know why it's there. Maple Treeway. Maple Treeway? Anyone? It's got wigglers on it. It's got trees. It's a passage through the trees. I feel like this is a track that everybody was waiting for, and it was supposed to be like a Wave 4 track or something. It's great up here. It's a Wii track. It's up here with this. Got wigglers with flowers on their head. I feel torn about this track because this is one that I haven't started practicing yet, which is my problems with it, is I don't like the way a lot of it's laid out right now. But after I get a bit of practice on it, it might become a track that I like more. Right now, it is just pretty good. It's a good track. I enjoy it, but, you know. You know. It's not super great. It's iffy. Berlin? Anyone? How do we feel about the Berlin Byways, which opens up on a city track with you're driving through a city, there's traffic, there's cars, you're dodging stuff. I'm pretty sure there's a train on this one. Is it a great track? A good track? It is a city track. It is a city track. Terrible, good. It's 2 completely different directions. Guys, I just said London Loop, they started to make the cities feel a little bit different. They're not as completely terrible as they were with Paris and Tokyo, but they're not that much better. So I have them listed I have them listed here in bad because they're bad. DS Peach Gardens. Does anybody... So Peach Gardens is a weird track. It does 2 laps through its normal circuit, and then the last lap does like a reverse and drives backwards through most of it. It's great. Nox says it's great. Nox, why is it great? Is it great just because it's Peach? I will say the track has a massive shortcut at the very end where you get a mushroom and you just take the lead. Cause the reverse is what makes it great. I actually think even without the reverse, it would probably be up there. But yeah, I have Peach Gardens listed as a great track. A great track, nothing to do with Peach. Peach don't need to be there. Okay, another not rated tour track. This is Merry Mountain. This is the Christmas track released in tour that they're trying to sell us as another Sky High Mountain type track where they're not telling us that it's from tour. What a weird world we live in. Nox says that Merry Mountain is pretty good. You're driving up, then you drive back down. I do like that one. I do like that one. Nox likes it. Okay. Nox. I'm listening to this one with Sunday Mountain, with the Sky High Sunday. It's just bad. I just don't like it at all. It's another tour track too. And that's the worst part of it. I can tell. You're spending all of your points on Cat Hat. It's crazy. And then we have one more track in Wave 3. I'm gonna get hate on this one. It's 3DS Rainbow Road. Welcome to 3DS Rainbow Road, guys. Everybody loves 3DS Rainbow Road. It's a great track. It's terrible. It's somewhere between great and terrible. Okay, we got this. Honestly, I have this one listed in the mid. My biggest problem with this track is the same as my biggest problem with Rainbow Road for the Nintendo 64. They made it a sector track because it's long. I want long track for Rainbow Road. It makes it feel difficult. The only reason this one's rated a 3 instead of a 1 or mid instead of terrible is Nintendo 64, they cut it up really, really short and removed all the character from the track. 3DS at least keeps its character with the fact that it's there and it's, you know, it still feels like a decently long track. The anti-gravity on the moon section actually really screws up the moon gravity. They don't feel the same at all. But, you know, they didn't completely butcher it. And with that, we have done waves 1, 2, and 3 of the DLC. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 great tracks, 16 good tracks, 20 mid tracks, 15 bad, and 12 terrible. And we're moving on to Wave 4. Wave 4 starts with a tour track. That's right, it's Amsterdam Drift. This is another one where there's 3 different laps. Just 3 different laps. You're doing 3 laps, guys. I'm totally not looking up to see if I screwed this one up in my head. I'm pretty sure Amsterdam Drift is the one with the flowers. on it, if I remember correctly. Which also means it's got a big water path in it. It's mid. Nox says it's mid. Mid would be the best tour track so far, Nox. You realize that, right? You realize that, right? No, I agree with you. It is the best tour track that we've seen so far. It is definitely a mid-tier track. It's the first tour track where I could say, yeah, that probably could be in a Mario Kart game and not be completely out of place. Because it plays like a Mario Kart track. I don't get it. It took us this long. GBA Riverside Park. Do we need to guess at this one? I mean, we've seen how I've rated all the GBA tracks so far, right? Like, all the GBA DLC tracks have been up here. So I'm just going to throw that one there. We don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 DLC GBA tracks in the grate. You guys don't need me to tell you nothing. DK Summit. DK Summit. It's the snowboarding track with the really big shortcut that I screw up every single time. You get rocketed up to the top. You take some bunny hills on your way down. You dodge some giant craters in the earth, which really shouldn't be there. And then you make your way around some slopes. It's a Wii track. It must be good. No penguins. No penguins in DK Summit. No penguins. But I do have DK Summit listed as a good track. A good track. Okay, now our final track. I didn't know how to list this one because I think they released Yoshi's Island at the same time for Tour and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think it's a tour track, so I listed it as a tour track. It's Yoshi's Island with some of the best music. I'm just gonna... Yeah. Don't mind me. I don't know what I'm listening to right now. Are these looped randomly? Dude, I cannot get the music right. There we go. Yoshi's Island music. It's got some of the catchiest music in the entirety of this. I have Yoshi's Island, you know, the entire thing, up here in 5. It is the highest rated tour track that I have at the top. It's there. I really enjoy it. It's got like the little ruins. It's basically a different game. It's a crossover track is how I would list it. And it's probably the best crossover track that we had. Animal Crossing was up there too. That's the end of the Fruit Cup. Fun fact, Fruit Cup was the highest rated single cup that I had across all of my ratings. With Amsterdam pulling out a mid and then 2 of them pulling out greats. Up next, we have Bangkok Rush, another city track. I'm not gonna beat around the bush on Bangkok. It's like another Berlin. It's better than the originals, but it's not really batting that well when it comes to tracks. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I think it does better than these. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not the best. DS Mario Circuit, the one with like half forest when you drive the giant pipe and then you're working your way down a hill. It's got the one with the fireballs spitting at you at the beginning of the track. That's the one. This track is in fact listed as... It's good. It's good. It's not like the worst. It's pretty good. Hi, Nightmare. How are you doing? Congratulations on being here. Nice to see you. Okay, now, we tried not to get too confused with Wario Stadium up here in good. We have Waluigi Stadium down here. With its fake piranhas, fireball spinning, its weird little ramps on the side. It's great. You're on an odd number? Odd numbers are good too. I have Waluigi Stadium, and excuse me because we're getting close to 2 hours, so I'm going to try to speed this up a tiny bit. I have this listed at midline. There's something about the entire middle and last section about it that I just don't like. And I don't know what it is. It's not a bad track, but it just feels weird. Yeah, I know, right? It's such a low rating. Singapore Speedway. I just don't understand that track. Probably not. How do we feel about Singapore, Nox? Do you like Singapore? I actually played a lot of Double Dash. A lot of Double Dash. Singapore is a tour track. It's mid. It's mid. I'm not gonna lie, this is easily the best tour track that they released. I'm throwing it up in 4. The entire first lap sector, whatever we're calling it, is probably better than most of the others. I think the third lap can use some work, and then the second lap was okay. But I think the first lap was really good. Athens Dash. A dash through ancient Athens with some caves and some falling on some villages. This is a very history-based tour track. It hasn't had anything done to it. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's bad. I don't know if it's terrible. It's bad. Daisy Cruiser. That's right, we're on a cruise ship that belongs to Daisy. It must be great. It must be the best thing ever. It must be awesome. It's got tables. It's got an underwater section. It's got cannons. Nox says it's great. I'm putting it at good. It's a good track. You guys haven't seen the qualifications that I used for great and terrible yet. There were rules about great and terrible. Could be better, but it's Daisy themed, so it takes... No, I think the deck run is pretty good. I think the big problems that I have with the track is that the entire water section is basically just a way to slow you down. It's not good. And the upper deck, they could have done a little bit more with it. It's very bog standard boring. For a cruise ship, they certainly doesn't have a lot of cruise stuff going on. Moonview Highway, a remake of a Wii track, so Nox will love it. That's the entire thing that we're doing with this. So this track could be broken into sections. The first section isn't really that bad. You can climb up the walls to do stuff, get some double items, drive through some traffic. Then the second section hits, and you're just going across, well, boost pads. And then there's no third section. That's the entirety of the 2 sections. This is a terrible track. This is just a terrible track. I'm sorry. It's got one way to drive through it. Another tour track. It's squeaky, clean sprint. This one takes place in a bathroom. And you start with like bathtubs, sinks, showers. There's everything. Cats. I'm a cat. It's mid because of the duck. I don't like that. I don't like that reasoning, Nux. I have Squeaky Clean Sprint listed next to Daisy Cruiser. It's a 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. It's good. It's good. It's not great. It's not really mid. It's good. And now we're seeing the dilemma that I ran into. I had about as many good tracks as I had as mid tracks. We had a problem there. We also had a lot of terrible tracks. A lot. Next up, we have Los Angeles Laps. Los Angeles Laps, a city track tour that takes place in Los Angeles. It starts off with like the beach. The beach is pretty good, and then it goes into like construction, and the city is pretty mediocre. So yeah, it started on a high note, and it ended on a very low note. GBA Sunset Wilds. It's a GBA remake in Mario Kart 8. I must love it, right? It's got to be the best thing since sliced bread. It's got Shy Guys on it. It's mid. Mid. Well, you guys rated this higher than I did. I have this as a bad track. And you know why it's bad? Because they removed the gimmick. In GBA, there was a gimmick where every lap it would get darker and darker. The sun would set more and more as you were racing. And then the last lap, it would be dark. Because it was literally the sunset track. It would be a little bright, and then that ending day, and then dark. And then in this, nope, don't got that. It's just there. They killed the atmosphere. Koopa Cape, the Wii track, where you go down the little river, and then jump into the little pipe thing, and drive around underwater before you launch back up and do it all over again. I'm gonna be honest, this track would be rated higher, but the camera does not like the section that's underwater. It really doesn't. And I have problems with cameras, so I have it listed as pretty good. If something bad happens to the camera, I tend to not enjoy it as much. Vancouver Velocity. It's a city track from Tour, but it's also a snow track, which would usually mean I would like it more, but looking over this list, there are a lot of snow tracks that I don't like that much. Huh. This one, I sort of like the first section. I sort of like the last section, but the mid section uses some work. This is a very mid track. It's very mid. We have 3 tour tracks so far that, like, city tracks that aren't terrible in my eyes. But now we have Rome Avanti, which is a tour track on the streets of Rome, and we are down to our last wave. I just checked. Welcome to Rome Avanti. It's got a Colosseum. It's got a bunch of stuff. Rome is terrible. Are we thinking about the same Rome? Are we? So it's Athens before. Athens was pretty bad. I actually have Rome listed up here as my second favorite tour track behind Singapore. I thought it was a really well done track. Thought it was really good. What about GameCube Double Dash DK Mountain, where you get launched to the top and you're driving down the mountain and you're trying to dodge falling rocks and giant pits again. It's Donkey Kong, DK Donkey Kong. It's great. Nox has it way up here. That's where Nox has it. It's good. I have this remake listed as easily forgettable. I'm sorry. I feel like they could have done more with this. They could have made it feel better. It doesn't feel good. Something about it just doesn't feel great to me. It's very midline. Very middle of the road. Daisy Circuit, guys. We have Daisy's Circuit. On the Wii. It must be a great track. It must be amazing. I'm going to be honest. I think of Daisy's Circuit the same way that I think of Toad Circuit. It's a very basic track that needs to be there. It's not, there's not a whole lot going on. It's pretty bog standard. Anybody can race it. It's got a little bit more complexity than the Toad Circuit. It's got a little bit more going on, but it's not that good. It's not bad, but it's not good. Piranha Plant Cove? Anyone? Piranha Plant Cove. The new track that they made with Tour and this in mind where you're driving through the ruins. Mid? Bad? Mid. So I listed this one as pretty good, but that's because I really like the first lap. I think the first lap set this one up really well, and then the other two laps sort of bring it down. Could be a lot better if they just didn't make it a changing track and kept it as the first lap over and over again. Might have been a little short if they did that, but you could have extended it a little bit. I don't know why they butchered it by making it the other two laps pretty blah. But yeah, it's pretty good. 4 tracks left, and we have Madrid. Guys, Madrid has a soccer field on it. It must be great. I'm just gonna say, Madrid is bad. Madrid is bad. I don't like the Madrid track. I don't think it's got much going for it. It doesn't differentiate itself, and it's got another sports field in the middle of it. It's like half the other tour tracks. Rosalina's Ice World. Rosalina's Ice World. Rosalina, it's great. It's great. It's good. Okay, so I have 2 big problems with Rosalina's Ice World that keep me from putting it in great. I'll be honest. The first is that the after you start and you get into that first ice turn, the camera does not know how to respond in that entire section. It is basically broken and useless, and you're better off closing your eyes and hoping you get through it rather than playing the game. The second is actually the caves. I feel like the cave near the end is pretty boring. You just turn and you drive through. That's about it. If there was more in that section, then maybe. But yeah, I feel like the camera specifically is my biggest complaint. Okay, 2 levels left. We got Bowser's Castle and Wii Rainbow Road. So Bowser's Castle 3 for the SNES, remade in Tour and then ported over to this. How do we feel about the new track? It's great. It's great. Okay, I'll put it in great. Thanks. Thanks. Wii Rainbow Road. Wii Rainbow Road. It's the final Rainbow Road, the final course of them all. It's on the Wii, and guys, it's a long Rainbow Road track that isn't a sector track. The art on this track is basically what I wanted all of the not SNES Rainbow Road tracks to look like. This is basically the best Rainbow Road that they released in the game. It's not the best overall because I think the N64 version on N64 is better, but that's me. Basically, in this game, you couldn't have gotten a better Rainbow Road than Wii Rainbow Road. It's not a sector track. They let it be a longer Rainbow Road track. It's not super long. They sort of condensed it in that regard. And that's it, guys. That's all of the tracks. But you might have noticed something. We don't have our top 3 or bottom 3. So I'm going to ask you, from the terrible list, I have 3 of these tracks rated as my worst 3. Absolutely unplayable. Hate them all. Would anybody like to take a guess which of these terrible tracks are in my bottom 3 rated across the entirety of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? We have Moo Moo Meadows. Moo Moo Meadows is one guess. What else we got? Shy Guy Falls. It's another guess. Feel like there's some obvious ones here. Moo Moo Meadows, Sky High Sunday, Tokyo Blur. Wow. Wow. One of those 3 is right, Nox. I will say right now, Sky High Sunday is in my worst 3. I absolutely hate that track. If you couldn't tell by me talking about it. The other one's not on there. I do not have any tour tracks in my bottom 3, believe it or not. Believe it or not, no tour tracks. The cow goes moo. The cow does go moo, but it is not in my bottom 3. So well, if I did this in order, track number 3 on my worst is Moonview Highway. I absolutely hate it. You basically can't do anything for the second half of the track. You're just driving on booster pads, just like Big Blue or Mute City. But there's nothing happening on this track. It's so boring. And then my second most hated track out of all of these is Excite Bike. I hate Excite Bike with a passion. You're not doing anything. You're better off letting go of your controller for 90% of it than trying to do anything else. And then my most hated is Sky High Sunday because it's awful. It's basically Excite Bike if Excite Bike didn't know how its camera worked. To the top end, though. I know. We did the bottom end. Now we need to do the top end. Okay, so just like the bottom, 3 of these tracks are going to be in the top 3. Top 3 that I like the most. They're all good tracks. Rainbow Road, Yoshi's Island, Yoshi's Circuit. Wario's not even in my great. Wario's down here. Oh, Mount Wario. That's up here, I guess. I thought Wario Stadium. Did anybody get any of them? One person did get one of them. Snowland is in my top 3. I really like Snowland. I really like the design of the track, and it's fun to play. Boo Lake. No, not Boo Lake. Boo Lake's a fun one to play. It's really good, but it's not in my top 3. My second is Sky Garden. Sky Garden. Not Bowser's Castle 3. I do like Bowser's Castle 3 a lot. I haven't spent a lot of time playing it. Maybe it'll get up there eventually. It's probably up there. Probably Yoshi's Island would be ahead of it. But my third is Royal Raceway, the remake for the Nintendo 64 track. We can actually go visit Peach's castle. I don't know why. They're the wide tracks, they're the fun ones. Yoshi's Circuit is fun to play, but it's a gimmick track for me. I like playing it because you backline the whole thing. And Mount Wario was never going to be on there because it's a sector track, guys. I hate sector tracks. It's never going to be in my top 5. It's a good track. Great track, even. Okay. They do confetti on Royal Raceway, actually. In case you didn't know. So there's my ratings. Like, oh my goodness, we zoom out. That's 96 tracks. So these are my top 3. These are my next 10, actually. So great was 10 tracks. Terrible, I also limited to 10 tracks. And then everything else is just sort of random. As we see, pretty good and mid have the same amount of tracks, and bad has quite a bit less. Now let's bring a professional. A professional what? I'm a professional hater. I hate stuff professionally. Okay. Now we just have one thing left. Just one. Okay, we have 2. So I took some stats over everything that I did, guys. I did some stats. So I took all of the tracks and I listed them as Mario Kart 8, Wii U, Wave 1 through 3, and Wave 4 through 6. So there were 32 Mario Kart 8 tracks, base game, 16 Wii U DLC tracks, 24 in Wave 1 through 3, and 24 in Wave 4 through 6. What one of those do you think I rated the highest across? So I went through every track and rated them, right? But when we break it down by game and where they came from, what did I rate the highest and what did I rate the worst? And I did split the waves in half, 1 through 3 and 4 through 6, because that felt like the right thing to do. That's not even what we're asking. We're not asking about console that the things came from. Here, I'll even make a poll. PlayStation 2? Yeah. Here, I'll start a poll. You guys can have a poll. It'll stop you from doing crazy stuff. I don't even know if the poll worked. I can't see it on this screen. Look at it. Look at them. Look at them. I mean, you could see the tracks. That's not fair. You could see the tracks. So, statistics time, because everybody loves stats. The lowest rated across all of my courses was waves 1 through 3. 1, 2, and 3. were a really low rating. And I think that has to do something with like the 10 tour tracks that were rated absolutely terribly and the low quality of a lot of the stuff. The second lowest rated was actually the Mario Kart 8 base tracks. They did not do that well. I guess there's just like a split there with some of them not doing that great. The second highest rated was the Wii U DLC tracks, all 16 of them. Did better than the base games on average. And then barely beating that out at the highest was waves 4 through 6. They just had a higher general average than everything else. If you combined all the waves, all the DLC from wave 1 through 6 into one, it is actually a bit lower than the Wii U DLC. So it depends on how we track that. And then we have by source. So did the track come from SNES? Did it come from Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, GameCube, DS, 3DS, Wii, Mario Kart, the Mario Kart 8 Wii U DLC, or did it come from Tour? Now, this would come as no surprise to anybody. The lowest rating for anything across the board by a lot were the 20 Tour tracks. Those did awful compared to everything. The second lowest rating, and this is a bit of a surprise to me looking back, were the 6 Nintendo 64 tracks. They didn't do that much better than the Tour tracks. If the Tour tracks were like reasonable, they would have been there. This was mostly hurt by them not changing much with their DLC, and also the Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road being massacred by being a sector track. In 8th place comes the Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks, the brand new tracks created for the Wii U DLC. Some of those were garbage. A lot of them were F-Zero. Animal Crossing did pretty good, but man, you gotta stop making F-Zero. Please? Please? 7th with this is the first one with an average rating of everything being higher than mid. And that was the Mario Kart 8 base tracks. The Mario Kart 8 base tracks, all 16 of them together, did slightly above midline. In 6th, again, slightly above midline, Captain Falcon. I know, right? The 3DS tracks, all 8 of them, averaged together to have an average rating of 3.13, which is slightly above midline. Then beating out 3DS by 0.01 on my average is the 7 DS courses. They did better in 5th. In 4th place, we had 11 of them. They did, again, better. Was the Wii tracks. The Wii tracks overall did pretty good. Then the GameCube tracks. Nox said I never played Double Dash. GameCube tracks actually did quite a bit better than most other tracks for me. 2nd place, 4 of these tracks, so it's not really that hard. The SNES remakes. I generally found these averaged, were one of 2 to average as great. Then with 1 left, averaging great and a half, way up near the top. No surprise, considering how many GBA tracks made great or my top 3. Literally 2/3 of my top 3 were this. Yeah, it's the Game Boy Advance tracks. They did really good on most of the Game Boy Advance remakes, and I can't even think of any. What is my lowest rated GBA track even? Was it Cheeseland? Cheeseland might have been my lowest rated at midline. No, it was Sunset Wild. Sunset Wild got it. It was pretty low. So there you go. There's my 2 hours and 13 minutes. You guys wanted me to rate this on stream, so I rated it on stream for you. Are you happy? It got done. That's my Mario Kart 8. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to rest my throat. Otherwise, I won't be able to talk tomorrow. We've been talking too much lately. I would like to thank you all for being here. It is an interesting weekend. But I am talking too much. And I need to somehow turn this into a video, which means instead of taking the blathering that I have from this, I'm going to actually write reasons that I like or dislike these. So if you want to see that, I don't know, that video will probably be out in a week or two. I filmed all the footage. I got half the songs. I just have to write stuff. It's great. But you know the list. We just don't know all the crazy reasons. Have a nice day. And I will see you all in the future, I hope. Unless we go to the past, like Samurai Jack.